we still got no sound of it. But I wanted to show you with a couple of the interviews from the young people, so you can hear from the young people's voices like, from themselves. But it looks like we're not going to have it this time. But I will give you again the link to YouTube so that you can see it in your own time. But please take time to have a look at it, because we did a survey from there, and I'm going to read some of the things from there.
If we give the clerk the link, that'll be emailed around to everybody.
That's right.
Jackie has the link.
Is there the link on the report?
It's already been sent.
So, while it's playing the background or showing the background, what we actually done there, we altogether we surveyed 43 people, aged between 13 and 24. 28 young people were stopped and searched, and they had a series of, then went on to ask a series of questions. So the summary of the most common feeling when they get stopped and searched is this: embarrassed, humiliated, violated, degraded, racially stereotyped, picked on unfairly, afraid, and angry. Summary of the most common complaint, summarising things here, but this here can also go to 6-7 pages, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Some of the common complaint, but being rude or aggressive, talking down, patronising, failing to give reason or good enough reason for stop and search. Going through this here, summary of the most common suggestion for improvement. Be polite, friendly and respectful. Have a proper reason for stop and search and explain this clearly. Don't stereotype, don't patronise, or don't talk down to young people. On the scale to 1 to 5, how much trust do you have that the police use their stop and search power fairly and without discrimination? 1 being no trust and 5 being total trust. What the report came back and said, a summary, 82% of those people questioned at the 28 were stopped and searched. 82% says that they had no or hardly any trust. And then at the 15 of the other side, 60% had the same thing, said no trust or hardly any trust. When you summarise, put the two, aggregate together, it became out to 78% had no or hardly any trust. So that means they've got work to do on that side there. And then they give you example, but keep going through how the police can improve communication with the public. And it says some of the things here: not stereotype, being polite and honest, by having a good reason and good intelligence for the stop. Be nice to people. So these here, we're going to give this out as well, so we email it so people are aware of what's being said. And then it's just some more detail of the people who were stopped. One person there, aged 24, black Caribbean male, being stopped and searched around 15 times. He has no trust in the police to use their stop and search power without discrimination. He gave a level 1, which is poor, with 5 being the highest trust. Feeling last time was humiliated, angry, confrontational, no arrest. Complaints about behaviour, the police were very rude, and with a gang mentality. Suggestion for how the police could improve young people's trust: be respectful and professional when dealing with people. So, but this is, you all can have a look through and actually find it for yourself. But what we found was the biggest thing is that even though some people felt embarrassed about when you said, do you know your rights about stop and search? Oh yeah, man, what, you think I'm stupid? I know my rights. But they don't want to appear like they're naive about what their rights are. But when you then go into it to ask them certain questions around their rights, you find quite evidently they don't know their rights. They're trying to be cool amongst their peers to say, yeah, I know what's going on. But it's not always the case, because what happens too often is to get misinformation is passed on to them. So they get the information from an unreliable source, and in doing so, it then, instead of diffusing conflicts, it actually increases conflict. Okay? So what we have to do is have a genuine source somewhere where people can turn to and say, yeah, well, at least this is authentic. Because anyone can set a website up, anyone can say this is not your right, but is it right? I think what we've done here, and what we managed as a breakthrough here, I think it's the first of its kind, and I call that unique in my books, is that we've done this Know Your Rights card that we just spent a few months and actually going through between the police and ourselves and the council. And what's happened is that we've got all sides to sign up to this is how they would do their know their rights. And more importantly, what we've been able to do with the know your rights is actually put in suggestion about rights and responsibility. Because it's a two-sided thing. Because what I don't want to see is people from our community coming in and being very disrespectful around a police encounter. Because other people sees that and it brings the whole thing down and it lowers the whole term. What we're trying to do is that we definitely want to support them in hitting the right targets, in improving the intelligence, because what we as a group want to focus on is really saying how can we better target those people that will want to carry knives and guns and come up with their violent offending. So these are the people that we want to bring to you and say, look, this is the things that we want you to actually then get on. But we've got to also make it safe for young people to say that they can report it. And right now, the reported mechanism, they have got very little faith in going to the police or going elsewhere to actually report it. But people like ourselves in our group, what makes us a bit different is that we don't wait for them to come to us. We actually go to them. We actually then approach them in a place where they're comfortable, whether it's on the estate, whether it's in the park, whether it's at an event, or whether it's an all day going on, wherever it is, we come along, and what we do is that we've got this card, which is called, you ready to do this? This is your part now, you can get ready. This is my little assistant. Get the card down. Right, come prepared. I have not enough cards, but I've got some afterwards. That's as far as you can go, okay? Or as far as it's strange. This is called 5 tips for staying out of conflict on a police stop encounter. And all we just done is put 5 points down to say to them, this is the thing that we want you to actually understand around stop and search. But more importantly, we just don't want to use this card and say, oh, I know my rights. We need you to go on the website. The whole point about doing this is get them to go to the website so that they get in more detail exactly of what their rights are. Okay? Now, again, it's not about, again, bashing anybody. It's about making that encounter better for all sides. Because if the young people know that this is what the police have brought into, and the council has approved it, and it's been led by one of our groups, our independent group, then that's what I call real engagement. Because I haven't heard about it anywhere else, taking that shape. And I'm thinking it's a step in the right direction. You know, I've written up about 2 pages of notes of the different things we've done. Okay, but as I said, I'm not here. We'll have to claim squatters' right if I stay here beyond my time. So I'm mindful of that. So now let me just round this up.
Can we ask some questions as you're going along?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can do. Yes, you can.
Yeah?
If you wanted to. Yeah,
Just 2 things. One of those, what you mentioned at the beginning, the statistics.
Yeah.
How different are they from what they were before? So the 23% and the number of searches, number of stops, that will be useful. And do we know why, do you and the monitoring group have your ideas as to why that's improved? Because it seems to me like a significant improvement in numbers and percentages, is that right?
Yes, it is. Because what I've done, if we go back to May 2013, so we go back a year behind, I said what happened a year ago, and what we will see there, so I've got the figures here. Here we go. We've got the year, I think it was back in May 2013, for example, there was 650 stop and search, and there was 111 arrests. That's 17%. Now, if we, as I said, for May 2014, the numbers were 394 stops and search and 92 arrests, which gives us a 23%. But more importantly, when we look back on a year ago, 16% of those stop and search, of those 650 stop and search in that month, was for weapon searches. Whereas this time around, we've got over 20% a year on. So it's an improvement on the numbers of actually a decrease in the number of stop, an increase in the arrest rate, which and for the things that they're targeting for is what we're actually supporting in that. As I said, it's developing, and we just can't look at 1 month. We've got to look at trends all over. So I'm not going to be shouting up and saying, hey, we've got it licked. We're licking it, but we've got more licking to do. So.
Any other questions? We start with Councillor Reg.
Thank you, Tony. I just wonder how useful young people found this car. Because my reading of it is that if you're in a difficult situation, but it's also been stopped, practically been stopped the first time, you tend to be nervous and uncomfortable, and you hardly then remember what's on this car. So how useful that would you say they found the car?
I found it incredible when you're engaging with young people. They just keep, I've got nothing but high praise. Wherever, no matter who they are, they always say, oh, big man, thank you, we need this. What? You know, when people, sometimes you find those people may be hard to reach. When you give them anything, they think you're trying to sell them. I said, what? I said, no, you're right, stop. I said, oh, let me have that, right? I'm going to keep that. Oh, yeah, why? Okay, why? And we need this. People always going to stop you and tell you a story about themselves or a story about somebody else that they know who had a bad encounter. Not just young people, I'm talking about big people, I'm talking about mothers, I'm talking about fathers. And they're saying that they feel so helpless because they don't know where to turn to find any of this information, who to trust, who to go and approach just to try to get some, some redress on what they've experienced. Because what you do find quite clearly is in 95% of cases, nobody goes on to complain. Okay, so something's very wrong when they don't want to go on because they suffer in silence. They're thinking, well, it's not going to make no difference. But as I said, if we had the video up, you'd have heard it directly and hear it how they say it. Okay, which is important for you to go and experience it outside of this. But what we find is that it's much more important that we go out and see these people, see these youngsters, see our community in the community where they live. Okay, so this is why we've taken on programs where we're going to do. There's a Met joint scheme going on the summer nights. There's an engagement. We're coming along there. There's a detached DJ bus that's going on a Monday, Duckett's Common, on a Tuesday down Northumberland Park. We're attaching ourselves to that. We're attaching ourselves to anything that's going, okay? So, just to get it out there. Because the one thing I do say, and I appreciate